Presentation for you, and I really hope you enjoy it. Some of you may not know, but I've worked for George on the original magazine in 1995, and one of my favorite issues was the February 97 Survival Guide to the Future. Today we're going to discuss that. Little things that went on during while we were working on the magazine, how it would work, what things we did to make it work, things we couldn't figure out. And as the years went on, now that I'm seeing stuff, this is my insight on what I think that cover means. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Well, here it is, the iconic cover, the image that we worked on, got confused with, had no idea what this was all about. Normally a cover comes in, we know what it's about. This cover, we were just confused, and when the type came for it, we were even more confused. A lot of work went into this cover, one of my favorites. And just so everybody knows who the model is, this is Karen Moller. She was photographed by Jean-Baptiste Mondino, costume and styling by Thierry Mugler, hair done by Libra Castillo, and her makeup by Estee Lauder. She was also referred to as the stewardess. Take a look at her outfit. Looks like a futuristic stewardess outfit. Red and white. I remember those colors being on somebody's plane. And as we get so excited when the cover image comes in, this is our worst nightmare when it comes to digital imaging. An awful, discolored 35mm slide. Most cover images are done on 2 1/4 or 4x5 images. This is a 35mm slide, and it was awful. It was so awful, we almost lost the account of this one image. We scanned it originally, matching the chrome. Comes back, please brighten it up. But I told them, this image is too small. We came in larger, 4,000% for a cover image of a magazine. The quality just would not be good. Back and forth, back and forth. Finally, after a few days, we haven't heard anything. We don't know what happened. We don't know whether we were going to lose the magazine. And we found out how mad John was. He was furious that we couldn't match this image and make it better. He didn't understand why. I told him I need the original piece of art, which I was told I could not have because it was hanging on the wall of his house, and this was a photographed chrome of that image. A few more days go by, we don't hear anything. Finally, an image comes in like this, a chrome, 4x5, with the picture they wanted already superimposed, created on what they call a Cytex system, and they output a digital chrome for me to scan. This is when the work finally started. Thank God we got the work back. We didn't know what was happening, and we were glad to see that we got this. So on the scanner it went. I scanned the image, we color corrected, it goes back and forth for markups a couple of times, brighten this, remove part of the Mount Rushmore that was behind the girl, one of the heads is missing, as you can see, Abe Lincoln's not there. So we're color correcting, we're fixing, brightening up this, brightening up that, changing the colors, things get marked up. Then one day, we get a package in with a couple of more slides for the job. It was a moon. They wanted us to scan this moon, superimpose it underneath her arm. We were also told to create what we were supposed to look like a flying saucer in movement, as you can see over her other shoulder. So we did this, submitted it back and forth a couple of times for corrections, movements, position, Obviously, they moved 2 images around for type for the cover. Make sure nothing gets blocked. This turns out to be the final image. After a lot of corrections, back and forth, color correcting, this happens a lot. Especially on the cover image, it's very important. Here's an example of how an image would be coming back marked up. It would be an overlay on it, tissue paper. Color corrections would be marked in the areas that they needed to be. One correction was -4% on the moon. It was such a light image, you couldn't understand what -4% actually meant. It was after hours, about 8:30 at night. The office was closed. There wasn't a salesman that we could speak to. But we have a number for after hours questions. So I called the number, and an answer machine answers, and it just said, please leave a message. I said, this was PubSec. Larry Giordano speaking. We have a question on the moon correction. It says -4%. Please call us back and clarify. A little while later, about 20 minutes, I get a call. It's from John. Yes, John Jr. He gave me a call to tell me that the -4% wasn't to lighten the color. It was to take 4% of the width of that moon and shade it off the left-hand side. I thought that'd be a bit odd, but this is what we do. So, hung up the phone, told my retoucher, we need to shave off 4% of that width to make it look like it's a little narrower, make sure it's on the left-hand side. So we did. So now, magazine printed. It's years later. My daughter's showing me a video all about QAnon. I didn't know what she was talking about. Then all of a sudden, I see the cover of my magazine flash across her TV. I asked her to freeze it. She says, what's wrong? I said, that's the cover of the magazine I did. She was amazed. She says, do you know what that is? I says, it's the cover of George magazine. She says, they use that as the QAnon Bible. For some reason, there's all sorts of things about the future that are showing up in the book. So now, Trump presidency comes around, and he has the fireworks at Mount Rushmore. I don't know what to think about that. I see it on the cover. So I think to myself, what day of the year did he do that? I wanted to check what the moon phase was, just out of curiosity. Lo and behold, July 3rd, it was a waxus gibbous moon, 96% full. That was 4% less than a full moon. I don't know, a little bit of a coincidence. Maybe just a coincidence. Now, I start checking into other things, out of curiosity. So now during the first Trump presidency, there's the 94% full moon, right there on the cover over Mount Rushmore. During his second presidency, what do we have right now? Disclosure. All of a sudden, there's talk of aliens. The two Trump presidencies, both on the cover, I don't know, but this would have to be something that would take time travel to even know. It just sounds confusing, but too much of a coincidence. These are just my thoughts, but you never know. Time travel, I'm thinking. The Mount Rushmore, looking like it was destroyed. Just a little bit odd, but it reminded me of something. Something I've seen before, and it was driving me nuts. Where did I see this? I know. It was in a movie. We all saw the movie. I'm sure you'll recognize it the second I show it to you. Yes, Planet of the Apes. What was this about? It was about time travel. It was about when they came back after years of being out in outer space. And when they got back, he saw this on the beach towards the end of the movie. And he said, they did it. They finally did it. What did they do? They exploded a bomb. A nuclear war went on. Look familiar? Well, take a look at this for a second. They look vaguely similar. I don't know. Trump said Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. So, 2 Trump presidencies listed right here on the cover as far as I can. So now, here's some information for you to look into. This seems a little bit odd that these 2 things are so similar. Are they trying to tell us something? Are we supposed to be looking to the future? Well, that's exactly what Junior told us to do. This was the guide to the future. We don't want this to happen. Trump said Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. So there's my 3rd clarification on this cover that I put together. You got the moon, you have the disclosure, and you have what looks like Mount Rushmore being destroyed in a nuclear explosion. That's the only thing that can do that, and knock it down like that, and that pile of sand around it. So, here's some information for you to look at, do your own homework. Claim to know anything, I'm just putting pieces together as I hear them. But it took a long time for me to put these pieces together. I don't know if they actually mean anything, but it kind of means something to me. So, are you ready to go right down that rabbit hole? Well, happy hunting, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you, and welcome to George Live.
Thank you. I tell you what, that's wonderful. By the way, it says, you know, when I went to Mount Rushmore, I just knew it was something that would go on that would actually change my life, and you know, I wonder if it's done that way to change other people's lives. And it's kind of like what Andre said, and I know Andre is a political speaker, this is a political magazine, but I think it really revolves around all of us to do your research. Some of these people, like, man, I'm telling you, like, Mickey, she put so much of her own life out there for other people. A lot of them have. You think about Roger with the Howe Ranch, people in America are just like saying, okay, what can I do? What difference can I make in the world? And it's all different ways. You know, going back to what it is, I mean, this stuff, man, this is some spooky shit, man. I'm telling you, it is just some crazy stuff. Anyway, this next video, before we get a Dave Blaze on here, but this one is about, another one about 10, 12 minutes. We started with a commercial only because I thought